Hey guys, welcome back to Gingerbread Aquatics with Andrew. Today I'm going to be talking about how I make my own DIY live culture foods for my fry, specifically for my Celestial Pearl Danio fry. But this could work for almost any other type of fish, especially the smaller types like bettas or danios or rasboras. I never really ran into this issue or needing to do this when I had, say, African cichlid fry, specifically like mabuna or peacocks, because they come out so large, and same with guppy fry. So if you're interested in learning about my live culture foods that I'm feeding water worms, INFUSORIA, and I have white worms for different stages of growth. So I'll take you guys into there and I'll show you guys all what I have. Here are my three cultures that I currently have. I'd like to get green water culture, but I don't have the means to do that right now, or the means that I'd like to try to do it right now. So these are the three that I currently have. I have one culture of water worms here, as well as another one stowed away up there. I have two cultures of INFUSORIA, and I have three cultures of white worms. So I think the most important thing is making sure that you have a food that fits the gape or the size of the fish's mouth. So, for instance, the INFUSORIA in here are very, very tiny, tiny little organisms. I'll overlay some of that footage right now. But these guys are what the fish will need to eat first, because of such a small mouth will not be able to take something like a water worm or even a white worm. So this is what I feed first, and I've been feeding this for the first 4 to 7 days, and then I move on to water worms. But I don't stop feeding this, because another problem that you can run into is that when you transition from, say, INFUSORIA to whatever your next larger size thing is, be it water worms or brine shrimp, is that you have your runts or the younger ones in that group that are still feeding on this, but when you stop feeding it, they'll die off, and you'll have a diminished survival rate, and you'll be wondering why you went from 100 eggs of whatever you were raising, for me, Celestial Pearl Danios, down to, say, 50 eggs, and or 75 fry afterwards, and you didn't see any of them die or fungus over. But I bet you it'd probably be because you're switching too quickly from one size food to the next. So you want to make sure that you're still feeding them that smaller size for all those fish that are not able to take your next size up. So I think that's a very important thing, and I think that's something that not a lot of people discuss or talk about, and it's talked about all the time when we are in aquaculture, and that you want to make sure that you are providing feeds across the entire range of the larval stages, so that way, in case there are runts or ones that are bigger than other ones, they are getting the proper size feed that they need. So I think that's very important. Like, I can't stress that enough, making sure that you have the right types of feed. And to start an INFUSORIA culture like this is pretty easy. I just took an old applesauce jar, filled it up with tank water, a little bit of duckweed and guppy grass, put in some leafy greens like lettuce, I believe, boiled the lettuce, put that in there with the water, and then a couple days later it was very cloudy, murky, and then the following days after that there were tons and tons of INFUSORIA like I showed you before, but I'll show you guys again what that looks like. And there's millions of them there, and all I do is I take my pipette here, come in, suction some up, take it up to where the fry are, and just shoot it on in there like 5 or 6 times a day. And then once they start getting large enough, I'll continue to take it from here, but I'll also take my finger, run it around the rim, and go also put this up here and swirl it around over on the side so that both the adults and the juveniles get it. As a treat for the adults, sometimes I feed the white worms. But I can't stress enough how important it is to have properly sized food for your fry, and I think that is one of the main reasons why fry die in our care, is because we aren't providing them with the proper size food. Because imagine us being humans, and all of a sudden we were faced with, say, a 50-pound ball of steak. We're not going to be able to eat that because it's so large. And that's the same thing that a fish is doing when they come up to this large piece of flake food or whatever, or a large worm, for instance, like the water worms. They're not going to be able to eat. They're just going to look at it like, wow, I wish I could eat that, and they'll just starve. So I really want to hound on it and stress to you guys, it's so easy to get one of these started, and it's so easy to keep them going. Yes, it's a little bit smelly, but if you want to be raising fry very well, I would highly suggest that you do this. Or in substitute of this, you could do green water, and I hope to be showing you guys how I do that, or how I'm planning to do that, once I have the access to what I need. Lastly, I want to say I think that these are good alternatives for baby brine shrimp if you don't have the patience or the time or the really desire to do that. I think that baby brine shrimp is a very good thing to have around, and definitely a good tool to be able to use. But I also think you can make do with just these types of cultures very easily. I want to hear what you guys use in the comments below for raising up your fry from larva to fry to adults. Like, what type of live foods do you use, or what type of foods do you use when they're at different stages? I'd really like to know. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. God bless.